We're live. Here we goes.
We're
Live.
live. Okay, Chris, welcome back, brother, from Thanksgiving. How's the family?
Good, man. How's your family?
Awesome, bro.
Good.
Okay, we were talking earlier. Let's just jump right into it because this is some juicy stuff, and we got to keep it quick. Um, you're laying some heavy stuff on me, man, and I can tell from your Facebook post and your engagement. We're gonna dive pretty deep tonight. So tell me what we're talking about.
Well, let's just say up front that we're going to dive deep for 8 minutes. So,
Cool.
what I want to do basically in this conversation is I want to outline what I'm calling the scale paradox. This will become a book I write in 2015. But what I've observed and what I'm noticing in myself and others, the ones I coach and everybody else in the business scene, whether you're a fitness professional, a realtor, an insurance agent, it doesn't matter. But since you guys watching this are fitness professionals, look. We as entrepreneurs have hardwired into us, we have this insatiable desire to grow and to build, and we have big vision, and we want to get to our goal, and nothing is going to stop us from that. Now, but the problem is, here's the paradox. The paradox of scaling your business is that with this insatiable desire to grow, we will go out and look for answers. Who's doing it? Who's getting it done? And then we start to add strategy on top of strategy, model on top of model, and pretty soon our efforts are completely, our attention is pulled in so many directions that we're not getting the traction we know we should be getting as entrepreneurs towards our goals in our business. So the paradox is if you want to grow a big business, if you want to grow past where you are into your vision or your potential, it's not adding strategies on top of strategies. You first have to dig deep before you can grow big. That's the paradox in a nutshell.
And it goes against what our desire is, which is that quick hit, that quick hit. It's like building a fire with paper. And you're saying, hey, let's go cut down some lumber.
That's true. That's a good point. In the last 2 weeks, I've done a lot of Facebook posts on the long play versus the short play. And we are, I think because we want results, and most of us, we're pretty demanding, we want results yesterday, we will go to the short play all day long. I want results now. So I will start playing all sorts of strategies, gimmicks, attempts to get me business right now, and it misses. That's another part of the paradox, right, is we think to grow our business, we got to go out and get results right now. And that is different than building a long-term approach or strategy for how to grow your business with less effort 2, 5, 10 years down the road.
So more work up front to give us that leverage and scalability down the road, which will be easier. So give me some steps, man. How do we build this deeper, stronger foundation?
Right. Well, there's really so in this scale paradox, there's 4 places that we go to work. And we won't have time in this call to cover that, but I want in the future calls to go through that. So the 4 areas that we really need to build from in the scale paradox are first starting with who you are. If you want to scale your business as far as you can see, what you have to do is first go to work on who are you and what are your strengths that you're going to play from, because that is your distinct point of differentiation. You can't, look, you and every other trainer out there look the same to the consumer. So you can't just go out and say, hey, I've got training services. You need to first have some self-awareness about who you are, what you're passionate about, what your strengths are, what makes you different than everybody else, and what are you best at? What are you genetically coded for that others aren't? And then you have to build and scale from there. That's the first place. The second step is, once you have some self-awareness and you know where you want to build from, you now have to identify the tribe of people you want to connect with. And this is, look, this is a huge conversation about how you start to add value to that particular group, okay? But that's the second place. And most people, the paradox of that is we think, oh, well, let's just go get as many people as we can because that'll lead to our success. The paradox is the smaller you get in your focus, the more you niche down, the bigger your business can scale up, okay? So that's the second step. The third step in this process or framework is you need to start to figure out what are your skills and standards for your brand. What skills and standards are going to differentiate your brand from everybody else? And there's a very specific thought process that needs to happen with that. We don't have time to cover it here, but I just want to tell you, like, look, your brand strategy is more about skills and standards than it is about your logo or your tagline, and that's the paradox. We think branding is all about, like, I got to make my stuff look good, and I'm going to crank out some great logos and some great things that look good, but that's not the essence of a brand. Okay? Once you have that distinguished, then the final step of this piece is, how do we now leverage? Leverage is the final capstone of this scale paradox. And what you do to layer your attempts, your strategies, one on top of the other, and who you layer it for is the next paradox. It's so many people think linearly about growing their business. Oh, I got to go do this, and then I'm going to go do that, rather than taking all the things that we're doing and consolidating, concentrating them in one tribe, in one group. So in a nutshell, that is a scale paradox. Those are the 4 steps of the scale paradox: who you are, your people, your brand, and the leverage that you use.
Gosh, man, just hearing you talk about this and also following the direction you've headed these past couple of weeks, we know this to be true. Deep down, we know it, but it's so hard because it goes against that quick fix, that immediate gratification that we've all been programmed to desire. So
yeah, that's true, but the flip side of that is the other thing that's at play. Like, we know in the background, like, you're so right. So it goes against what we feel like, we need results right now. But the flip side of that is it also resonates with this piece of us in our heart or in our mind that is saying, I feel like this should be easier. I feel like this should be more congruent with who I am. And I don't feel like I should be making prospecting calls right now. This feels odd to me. I don't like this. See, all the stuff that we have to look. I was just doing some research on small business from the Small Business Administration recently, and one of the stats that it said that small business people want, like, I think it was like 30%, the biggest percentage of people, what they said they were concerned about in the next year was attracting new customers, getting new business. And so ultimately what that basically says is people want lead generation. We want to know, how do we generate leads? That is our concern. And because that is about how we get to the next goal, is cash flow. And cash flow comes from attracting leads. So if you don't want to prospect and you don't want to sell your services and you don't want to prostitute yourself out there to people in a way that doesn't feel like you, this is what we're addressing. We're addressing, look, if you want to scale, the paradox is you have to stop doing all that old school sales stuff and start getting really authentic with who you are and connecting with people in a real way. And that is what grows your business. But it's counterintuitive than what we've been taught, and yet there's something in our gut that says this is right. It feels right to do it in a way that's authentic.
Yeah, and so my main question is, how come people haven't been doing this?
No, I don't think anybody's teaching this. What everybody's teaching is, hey, you got to get out of your comfort zone. Hey, just eat that frog. Hey, 3 hours of lead generation, right? These are the books that we read. These are the books we read. And what I'm saying is, look, there are some people that have led me in my thought process. Seth Godin, Marcus Buckingham, the Gallup organization. When you start looking at who you are wired to be and your unique fingerprint on this planet, and you build from there, that isn't being taught. And that is why I get so passionate about this message, because that is what we need to be feeding off of. And it's not what everybody else is saying. See, look, what everybody else has written a book about and speaks from the stage about is what made them successful. And they're packaging it up and saying, hey, this is what made me successful. Now, you just go out and do what I did, and you'll be successful too. Here's the problem. You are not them. So it doesn't work that way. Like, there may be some good principles of success in what they're teaching you, but their system absent of who you are doesn't fit. It's a square peg, round hole. Get it?
Yes, got it. So what can we expect with future Hangouts? Are we going to be diving in deeper in these topics?
Yes, I want to. Let's just do this, Josh. What I want to do in the future is, in the next call, let's go into you, and the call after that, let's go into tribes, and the call after that, let's go into brand, and the call after that, let's go into leverage, and we'll just sort of break this down each call into each of these 4 steps in terms of the scale paradox.
Got it. Okay, perfect, man. I look forward to it. Thanks.
Okay, dude. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. See ya.
Bye.